Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Andrew. Can you hear me?
I don't hear you very well.
Can you hear like pretty good, or does it sound quiet to you?
Make sure it's not. This is my Zoom client.
Is it pretty quiet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always the challenge with PCs. You can hear it relatively good on like iOS devices and macOS devices, but you still got to turn it up. That's the problem we're having. But if you can hear it, we should be okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me though?
You want to test it on the? Do you have the YouTube stream going?
I do.
It sounds okay there.
Let me go look at it. But this is enough audio to check it. There's nothing we can do to adjust it on the YouTube stream anyway. And so as long as we tested it.
All right, welcome everybody to this meeting of the San Marcos CISD Board of Trustees. Tonight is Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Welcome back from spring break and heading into the testing season and the finals 8 weeks. My children keep going back and forth about whether there's 8 weeks left or 7 weeks and whether we just had a short one. Anyway, this is a meeting held in public, but not a meeting of the public. You're invited to observe and listen as the board conducts its business. During the public forum portion of the meeting, you are welcome to address the board per our published guidelines. All items that will be discussed and voted on this evening have been posted as required by law. In compliance with the State Government Code on Open Meetings Act, the proceeding is being recorded and will become part of the San Marcos CISD permanent legal record. To ensure the recording accurately reflects the proceedings, please refrain from talking while others are speaking. In accordance with state law and district policy, disruptive conduct must be avoided so as not to interfere with the meeting. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the public. This statement serves as the first warning from the presiding officer to the public, and if an individual decides to disrupt the meeting, assistance from law enforcement officials will be requested and have the individual removed from the meeting. Thank you for joining us this evening. At this time, I'm declaring that we have a quorum. We have 4 board members present. And others, I believe, are joining us shortly. And I would like to invite Principal Riccio up with her students from Days of All Elementary School to lead us in the pledges.
Good evening, Dr. Cardona and board members that are here and everyone in spirit. I'd like to introduce our DZ leadership group here. Some of our members, these students greet students every morning in carpool, bus, cafeteria. They help in all the ways that you can imagine as 5th graders do, and we are really proud of them. So, all right, let's say our pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thanks so much, y'all. The next item is public forum. We have 2 speakers this evening. Please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. The first speaker is Susie Carter.
My speech reflects the books that are in your schools, and I believe they have content that is not suitable for children, so if any parents would like to remove the children during this time, it might be advisable. Books that contain profane, indecent, or sexually explicit content are illegal in Texas public schools, and yet you and your superintendent cling to these pornographic books, and here's one of them that you're clinging to. It's called The Nowhere Girls. The skinny, lazy stoner loved to fuck all night. Was part of my harem for a couple of months. Ended up in the hospital for a few days with some kind of infection, but asked me to visit her. I fucked her in the bathroom when she was high on painkillers. Is this the kind of uplifting literature that you all believe you should be buying with people's tax money? Do you want your children and grandchildren to read about stuff like this? I don't really think it is very pitiful. But all of you who agree with me, please raise your hands. All the rest of you, I wonder if you're pedophiles or what? What is your problem that you want your children to read stuff that is filthy as can be? We must take action to protect our children from harmful content. They deserve the best literature, not filth. Following the law is a requirement, not a suggestion. San Marcos ISD is still not following the law. You are protecting and keeping on your shelves books that are worse than what I read about to you. There was also one that was about gang rape, about a young girl who was a nobody, and she was thinking one young man, one schoolboy, was getting sweet on her, and she kind of let herself get close to him. After a while, he locked the door and had his friends rape her as well. This is the kind of stuff that you have in your school. There is no excuse for it. All you're doing is saying, well, the staff told us it's okay. The staff shouldn't be telling you what to do. If the staff says jump off the cliff, do you all do it? Are you a bunch of lemmings that just do what the staff or the superintendent told you? What is your purpose in being on the school board? You're not protecting the children. You are actually harming the children with these kinds of books. And it really grieves me to have to come here. I have been a teacher for many years, and I can't imagine that these books do any good for anyone. I think it grooms the children to think that sexual perversion and drug use is normal.
Thank you very much. The second speaker this evening is Reverend Jim Davis.
Good evening. I'm Pastor Jim Davis of Grace Bible Church here in San Marcos. My congregation and I are deeply committed to raising our families according to God's Word as the ultimate moral law. We are determined to pass on these timeless ethical standards to the next generations of San Marcos and Hays County. I come before you tonight respectfully, but with urgency and conviction. Superintendent Cardona once assured me that the district had found a way to meet legal requirements while keeping certain materials. However, that position no longer holds. The U.S. Supreme Court in Miller v. California clearly ruled that obscenity is not constitutionally protected. Obscene materials appeals to prurient interest according to community standards, describes sexual conduct in patently offensive manner, and lacks serious value. These are the very standards violated by materials in our school libraries, materials that are profane and indecent and defined under the Texas Senate Bill 13. Profane and indecent content is what cannot be broadcast on radio or television during family hours or depicted in theaters for minors. Yet such content has been present and even read aloud in public forums here. Jesus warned it would be better for a person if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea than he would cause one of these little ones to stumble. Hebrews says that marriage is to be held in honor among all, and the marriage bed is to be undefiled. For fornicators and adulterers, God will judge. These biblical standards and many others have been violated by exposing children to graphic sexual content. Texas Penal Code Section 4324 prohibits the distribution or display of harmful material to minors, material whose dominant theme appeals to prurient interests of sex, nudity, or excretion, is patently offensive and lacks redeeming value for minors. You are in violation of this statute. Furthermore, recent changes such as those closing loopholes in SB 14 eliminate any claim that sexually explicit material has educational value, redeeming value. The old argument no longer applies. I have sent you excerpts from Nowhere Girls, including lines like virgins count double, he says. Most of the guys laugh. Start with the freshmen, they're the easiest. This book graphically describes sexual exploits, including the detailed gang rape of a 15-year-old by upperclassman. This is not education, it's harmful exposure that plants dangerous ideas into adolescents' minds. Board members, you have a sacred duty to protect your children. Remove these materials immediately. Enforce Senate Bill 13 rigorously and align with community standards, state law, and moral truth. Our children deserve libraries free from content that causes them to stumble.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item this evening is the superintendent's report. Dr. Cardona.
Madam President, members of the board, good evening. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Twyla Guajardo, who has some wonderful announcements. Oh, CJ Odom's been given that task, been voluntold. All right.
Kathy, come on up.
Good evening, Dr. Cardona, members of the board. I am proud to stand with Dr. Guajardo, the principal at San Marcos High School, to welcome our members of our TAFE program. So the program is teaching and training. So these are our future educators that go through our program, and the association that they've become a part of is the Texas Association of Future Educators. So back in February, these students, we had 18 students that qualified for TAFE State, the state competition, across 11 different events. And at the state competition, the San Marcos High School TAFE chapter was once again recognized as a state outstanding chapter under the guidance of their teacher, Emily Buckteen. And we had, from that position, 5 students that have now qualified for the national championships, and they will be taking place this summer in Portland, Oregon. And so I'll call out what there's one double, so they get to go up there twice, right? So in Educators Rising Moment, in that event, Georgia Riccio is qualified for nationals. In Lesson Planning and Delivery, Eleanor Heiner has qualified for nationals. And the Ethical Dilemma team of Mabry Kratz, Georgia Riccio, Juliet Riccio, and Sam Salmi have qualified for nationals. So we just want to congratulate them and that entire chapter and Ms. Buckteen for their continual outstanding work. And we're just excited to know that we're seeing these future educators come right through our school here at San Marcos High School. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I said I'll be happy to chaperone with y'all. Portland, Oregon. I'll volunteer. And next, I'd like to bring up Lacey Matiowski, Ms. Lacey Matiowski, who has another celebration of our students.
All right, if we could have our science fair winners and their teacher or admin come on up and hang over here. It's my honor to recognize an outstanding group of 4th grade students who have achieved the highest level of excellence at this year's Greater Austin Regional Science and Engineering Fair. These students earned Blue Ribbon First Place Awards, representing not only their campuses, but the very best of our district's commitment to scientific inquiry, innovation, and academic rigor. Their success began at our district science fair, which was coordinated by our K-12 Science District Curriculum Specialist, Mrs. Lydia Engelhardt. The top 14 student projects from each elementary campus were evaluated by a panel of Texas State University professors and students. They were super impressed with what our students put out. It was very hard to pick people to move on. At this level, the judging focused on the strength of the project's experimental design, your scientific thinking, and the written explanation of results. So after advancing beyond the district level, these students went on to represent our district at the regional competition in August, where they presented their projects directly to judges, responding to questions and defending their methodology and findings with confidence and clarity. And this reflects not only their dedication, but that of our science educators. Our science teachers are pretty top-notch, and they mentor, guide, and inspire them through this whole long process, right? It was a big project. So at this time, I'd like to recognize each of our first place winners. We have Aiden Castillo from Crockett Elementary. His science teacher is Miss Danny Lynn Grevengood, and his project was called Mission Clean Water. This project explored possible filtration methods of water using naturally sourced materials, and Aiden is here with his assistant principal, Megan O'Neill.
Megan, their parents
We also want to recognize Athena Gomez from Mendez Elementary.
Stay right there.
Her science teacher is Ms. Samantha Rodriguez, and she earned first place for her Lemon Energy project. It explored using lemons as a natural energy source to produce electricity. And Athena is also here with her principal, Suzanne Perkins. I got your name up. And then finally, we have Valerie Valeriano from Hernandez Elementary. Her science teacher is Miss Gloria Torres. Her project was Towel Wars. The project explored the absorption of liquid by various brands of paper towels. And she's here with her assistant principal, Miss Charisse Hanf. So we're really proud of these students for their dedication, their curiosity, your commitment to excellence, and their achievements reflect not only their individual hard work, but that again of our science educators and our district's commitment to science education. So one more time, congratulations to you all. And big thanks to Miss Engelhardt for organizing that.
Great job, everybody.
Good job.
Nice job. Dinner time. Make your parents take you somewhere nice. Madam President and members of the board, also before you have for TASB a couple of resumes of candidates for the Region 13. There's an envelope for y'all to vote, and if you just put it in there and seal it, and all your votes are anonymous, I'll take all of them and then we'll mail them off to Region 13 for y'all. And then at this time, if I could get Mr. Fernandez up here to do a brief presentation on additional day school year.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Oh, there it is. Is it on y'all's screen? Okay.
Yes.
So additional day school year, at the superintendent call with TEA, they presented the ADSY, the ADSY is short for additional day school year. They presented it to our superintendent in February. So he quickly tasked cabinet to look into it. And we had a call with TEA the week before spring break. And so that's a little background on how we came about learning about ADSY. So ADSY is would be able to add formula funding for up to 30 additional school days here in San Marcos CISD. And so there's two pathways for this type of funding. It's to generate half-day formula funding for all 30 half-days or add 25 to 30 full days. And so the way this works is there's three different options. Option one, voluntary summer learning. Option two, intercession calendar, or option three, a full year redesign. And so how this works is you must have an academic calendar of 175 days. We, as a school board, we passed our academic calendar in January for 169. So TEA said, hey, you're 6 days short to get this additional funding for something you already do. And so the way this would work was option one. Summer learning, we offer it here in San Marcos CISD pre-K through 12. And so if we were to approve a 175-day calendar, we would be able to receive funding for our summer school. Right now, summer school is strictly paid out of our general fund. We pay teachers, we educate students in the summer. And if we were to bump up to 175 days, that would trigger the ADSY formula funding for summer learning. What is ADSY, and a little bit of background on it. There's two columns on this particular page. We're just going to focus on the left side. The right side, we would have to bump up our instructional days to 200. And to do that by next school year is just a little too much. We want to make the transition a little easier. But here are the requirements to receive that additional funding. We would have to serve at least one grade level within grades pre-K through 8. And we would ask for this funding for pre-K through 8 at all of our elementary and middle schools. We must pass 175 full instructional day calendar and meet the 75,600 minutes, which currently our academic calendar 169 days with a 75,600 minutes. And we'd be able to add 1 to 30 additional half days of instruction beyond the base 175. Again, this is just strictly focused on receiving funding for summer learning. We would have to provide at least 2 hours of instruction from a certified teacher, which we do every summer. We provide 4 hours of instruction, and these days would be separate from our regular instructional days. So again, think of 175 instructional days. We receive funding, right? Every time the last few summers that we have summer learning, that's all locally budgeted. We don't receive funding when students come to school. If we get this funding, if we get our calendar to 175, we can receive funding for summer school. 2 benefits from ATSI. 1, student outcomes. So this program was approved in 2019. School districts started implementing it in the 2020-2021 academic year. A lot of school districts didn't know about this program. That's why they brought it up to superintendents in the February call. Two things from the ATSI schools that have participated since 2020. They've seen ATSI campuses' achievement growth was 3 points higher than the state in math and 4 points higher in reading. So obviously, student outcomes have increased. The second, our board, y'all have tasked us with coming to you with a balanced budget. So we found the ATSI program, and this is just a sample of the funding scenario. Per student funding for additional 30 days, again, it probably would not be 30 days for our summer learning. We're looking at about 20, which is what we traditionally do. We only provide summer learning in June. So 30 days, looking at $30 per half day is $900. You times that by 15 students, which would bring in $12,825. Roughly around 34 classrooms, assuming we have around 525 students, which is a rough estimate of what we have in summer learning in CISD. So that would bring in an additional $436,000. Obviously, you got to pay for teachers to run summer school, as we do already, right? Instead of that money coming out of our local budget, we're creating that revenue through the ATSI program. And so now, if we bring in an additional revenue of $436,000, 218 is dedicated to teacher salaries, and the rest of the 218 can be additional revenue for the district. Again, just to summarize ATSI in an easy way, we have summer learning in CISD. If we update our academic calendar for next year and increase it by 6 days, that would meet the ATSI requirement and trigger additional funding for summer learning. Plain and simple. We put together the presentation, but in layman's terms, that's what it does. What we need from y'all, ATSI doesn't need to be approved. The only thing that needs to be approved and updated is the academic calendar. So that's our ask to the board. And obviously, it's not going for approval tonight, but this is what our academic calendar currently looks like. So we're sitting at 169 academic days proposed for 26-27. What we need to do is find 6 days to turn from non-school days to regular school days next school year. If you look at the calendar, if you notice the professional learning, the light blue colors, so you'll see October 8th, December 18th, January 5th, and April 23rd. Those are currently designated as professional learning days for our staff. September 25th is the Parent Community Day, and February 12th is the Parent Community Day. What we're asking the board to do is convert these following days into regular school days. It would be a little different model than what we've done in the past, but September 25th, convert from a Parent Community Day to a half school day and then a half Parent Community Day in the afternoon. So what this does is it gives us an additional day, so we only have to attend school for 4 hours to be considered a full day and get us to the 175. So bullet point number 1 gets us a full day. October 8th, December 18th, January 5th, and April 23rd would convert from a professional learning day to a regular school day. And then again, September 25th and February 12th will convert from a Parent Community Day to a half school day. And then the second half would be a Parent Community Day. The ATSI proposed calendar will look like the following. Again, with those 6 changes, it would get us to 175. And I do want to clarify a few things. The start day for next year wouldn't change. The end date would not change. And based on the survey results and even questions from the board the last time we presented, a big concern was too many days off before holidays and the lack of parent supervision at home during these days. So now that this addresses multiple issues while increasing our funding for summer learning. I know that's a lot of information in a short amount of time, but again, all the board would need to do is approve 175 academic calendar days, and then next summer of 2027, we would receive funding for students participating in summer learning, and we would submit that in our PEAM submission in August of 2027 and receive funding for those students that attend summer school.
This, seems great. I do worry about us losing those professional learning days because I think we were intentionally trying to intersperse those throughout the year so that teachers have a chance to regroup and rework.
Yes, and so as a cabinet, we did speak on this, and Dr. Sanders can talk.
Before, I just have a question about that. So I just want to make sure I understand. So the state is telling us that we can have extra money to fund our summer school program if we add more days to the regular school year. Can we not just add like 10 optional days in June and have that count?
So the great thing about it is bad weather days. So you get up to 5 bad weather days. So say we put a calendar 175 and we have bad weather days, and we have up to 5 days that we can cancel school due to bad weather and not have to make them up, and we would still get credit for ADSY. But as far as we can add those days anywhere, as long as the academic calendar.
Can't we add them at the end of the school year and just make them optional?
No, it has
be like the lead in, like the transition period to summer school?
No, it can't be optional. It has to be in the academic calendar.
Okay.
So we have worked really hard to try our best to provide our teachers with that professional development time. One of our major initiatives is after every district common assessment, we want to make sure teachers have a time and space to be able to disaggregate that data and create a plan for intervention as necessary. So one of the things that we're looking at is how do we be more creative with our master schedule is one. We're looking at how to streamline across elementary, for example, of having common planning time, not only at one school, but across all the schools, and then being able to utilize such as Zoom so that we don't pull teachers from their building and we can conduct professional learning using technology. That's something we actually did a couple weeks ago before spring break. We were able to pull our teachers here. Every 4th grade teacher got additional training because we knew that was an area of need. We also have PLC time built in, and we don't want to take that time away from teachers too often. What we want to do is be able to bring in substitutes, and we do this occasionally, where we provide teachers with half-day planning so that they can really get ahead of the next unit coming in, so that they're prepared well in advance of starting a new unit each 9 weeks. So we would be very creative to ensure that our teachers still got adequate time to plan and prepare for lessons coming forward.
I think it's a good idea. I really do. I think that if we're already almost there with just a few days, I don't see why we wouldn't take advantage and be able to get some extra income into the district. Was this discussed at all with the teachers, administration? Have they had an opportunity to see this potential thing happening?
So currently they have not seen this model of the additional school days as we learned about it before we left for spring break and we presented to you all. But we do have principals meeting coming up next week, and so we'll definitely be talking to our principals. And as always, our expectation is when we're having those conversations with our principals, they're taking that back to campus teachers to get feedback from them as well.
So had this been going on for years and we just heard about it?
It was one of those things where a lot of districts were not aware of it, and so many districts were not aware that they made that part of the superintendent's call before we got out for spring break. So as soon as Dr. Cardona got off that call, he called us all in to make sure that we were aware and to get started researching it.
Mr. Don.
Thank you, President Halsey. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleague, Trustee Cantu. I'm optimistic and intrigued by this idea and proposal. I guess my comments related to this are: one, yes, I want to hear from the principals. Love our principals. Our principals are great. But whatever outreach we do, I would really like to see that as quickly as possible pushed down to our teachers and parents as well. I know we did significant outreach for this current calendar, but in addition to that, we did significant outreach for the 4-day proposal that was in front of this board about a year or so ago. So as we transition in a totally different direction and talk about additional school days in the calendar, I want to make sure that our teachers and staff and parents are all on the same page. And then I would be curious, I understand by the funding model that was included in the board book, I just want to know what those potential implications could be for like food service, janitorial, facilities, things like that, because obviously those are additional days that we'd be asking those employees to come in, prepare food, et cetera. So I just want to make sure that we take all of that in as we consider this proposal. But again, I'm intrigued and optimistic about what this could mean for the school district.
Thank you.
Madam President, that is the end of the superintendent's reports. Good to have everybody back. The final 8 to 9 weeks we have left, depending on what student you ask, which family, which side of the board you're on. Thank you very much.
Then our next item is academics with the taper report.
Dr. Valdez, the attendance, I apologize.
We want to make sure we get our staff out that are here to receive their ADA award. So if we can get AP O'Neill up to the front. We actually have Crockett this time. They received the highest ADA for elementary campuses at 94.85 for the month of February. Congratulations.
I was going to say we didn't even really get to have it for long.
We used to have a couple of words. Perfect, thank you.
It goes back a beat?
Yep.
Oh, thank you guys. I'm so sad. I took a picture in the car and
And then for Miller, 2 months in a row, we have AP and actually Dr. Young is here too. Come on up. And they were at 93.24 for the month of February.
Hold pose, husband
Thank
taking
you.
a picture, hold pose.
wait. We have one more because I get.
Yeah, husband needs to take a pose. Real quick. Dr. Valdez, thank you. I apologize.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Halsey, Dr. Cardona. I am Beth Nash, Director of Data and Accountability, and I'm here to present the annual taper report. So this is the 24-25 annual report, including the taper, which is the Texas Academic Performance Report. I know we're in March of 2026, and yes, the years are correct. That says 24-25. But there are several components of the annual report that are not released until late in December of 2025. And some of the components actually just were released in this spring. So we've typically done the annual report in February, but this year we pushed it into March because some of the components were not going to be available for the board book if we had done this back in February. So a lot of these components, you've already seen the data presented, but it's been isolated in different presentations. So this annual report just simply brings all the data, puts it together into one presentation. The PDF all combined is 1,500 pages of information. So the actual presentation of it all printed out is not in your board books. If anyone wants a printed copy, I am happy to run off that for you physically, but it is not in your books. They're not physically printed at the campuses, but digitally they are available. It's already on our website. But once again, the majority of this information has already been covered in previous presentations. These are the contents every year per Texas Education Code. We have the 24-25 taper reports, PEIMS financial reports from the 23-24. We have the district accreditation status from 23-24, a review of the campus performance objectives. Those are essentially just your campus improvement plans. We have the report on violent or criminal incident on campuses. That is something that's new. We have our student performance in post-secondary institutions, progress towards your House Bill 3 goals, and your taper glossary. If anyone wants the direct link on where to locate all of this on our website, it is located right there, smcis.net/accountability. So first and foremost is the taper section. It is compiled by TEA for every district. It was released right before we left for Christmas. We receive it for the district. It's about 35 pages at the district level, and each campus has their own taper report as well. At the campus level, it's between 25 and 30 pages, and it's compiled from the PEAMS and through Texas assessment data. And you can get as granular in the data as you want. So if you really want to nerd out in the data, by all means, knock yourself out. It has every single piece of data information comparing this year to last year, or in some of those lagging indicators, it's the 2 prior years. The cover page this year does include accountability since ratings were finally released. It's just the letter grade though, so it's not the numeric, and it does have that for the district and the campus level. It includes the special ed determination status at the district level. If we didn't give the ASVAB test, that would be notated, but since we do give the ASVAB, it doesn't show that. And then for each of the district and the campuses, it shows the different distinction designations that were earned for the 2025 school year. As a reminder, 8 of our 10 campuses that were eligible earned those, so we're very excited that those are actually printed this year. With litigation previously, those were not listed. Main sections of the taper you can see here. It is extremely detailed, like I mentioned earlier. We're not going to go in detail on all of these sections. We would be here for several hours if I did that. But some highlights to share. This is across all grades, all subjects, both STAR and EOC, comparing last year, the 24 school year, to the 25 school year. You can see as a district, we are showing growth across all grades, all subjects, at approaches and meets and masters. So we are certainly trending in the right direction. Looking specifically at bilingual education and English as a second language, they're also trending in the right direction. In a certain area to highlight, if you look at math specifically for this group of students, they actually outperform the district. So there are extreme gains being made here. And these are our students in bilingual education. So it's not just our students who are our students from our Spanish-speaking homes, but our English students who are in that dual language program. So there is monumental gains being made in that dual language program as well. So our multilingual program is doing a lot of work with these students, and it's really showing right now. Our attendance rate, while that 90.6 up to a 93.2 may not look like it's that much, for the course of a 1-year improvement, that is a huge jump for attendance. And then chronic absenteeism, to have that much of a decline, that's another really solid win for the district. Looking at our CCMR, you have first the overall improvement of a 55.2 up to a 70.5. And then the next chart breaks it down between the college-ready graduates versus career and military. So you can see really where did those improvements come from. And you can see overall the improvements are coming from the college-ready graduates. So our career and military are staying similar but still have improvements. So a lot of our improvements are coming from that college-ready side. Are they TSI-ready through ACT, through SAT, through the dual credit, through AP, through their associate's degrees? So once again, I could go on and on about the data in the taper. I'm not going to, but it is there. The next section is the PEAMS Financial Standards Reports. This is based on the 23-24 school year. This shows you the breakdown of how did the district spend money based on revenue, expenditures, disbursements, tax rates, and fund balance. And then for each campus, what were their expenditures by object, function, and program expenditures. So once again, very detailed data from the financials. Mr. Alvarez, I'm sure, can go in much more detail on this than I can, but the information is there. And then the accreditation status for the 23-24 school year. This is the most recent year that this information is available. You'll see there are 4 levels for which this information is available, and we are accredited, which is the highest level available. Campus performance objectives. This refers to the campus improvements plans that every year academics brings to the board in either October or November for approval. And then throughout the year, campuses refer back to them to check in to see how they're doing. Essentially, this is just a reminder of what goes into the campus improvement plans. So as part of the website, it has all of the completed campus improvement plans on the website showing what all happened throughout the year. So this is just what happens with them after the fact. Report on violent or criminal incidents on campuses. This is something you have not seen this before. TEA does track a very specific list of violent and criminal incidents that have to be reported. There's a pretty extensive list of what we have to look at. I'm not going to read them all out to you, but there are some pretty eye-opening things that do happen, unfortunately, on campuses. And if the number of students per incident type is less than 5, the information is masked per FERPA. And as you will see, all of our information is masked due to FERPA. So you can take away that it was less than 5 students. And our only one that we have is felony controlled substance. So once again, I'd rather this be completely blank, but as positive as it can be. Student performance in post-secondary institutions. This is a report that's through the Texas Higher Ed Coordinating Board, and this is based on the 23-24 high school graduates tracking their first year in college, their fall, the spring, their summer, looking at their GPAs. And it's looking at students who attended public 4-year or 2-year institutions in Texas only. This is an area where there's been a lot of questions over the past at the annual report because it doesn't track our kids. They go straight to the workforce with their certifications through our CTE pathways. This doesn't track our kids who go to public universities or who go out of state. This doesn't track our military kids. This doesn't track our kids who go to trade schools. But looking at the students that we have, here's how San Marcos fared. I did speak with the Gear Up coordinators, and for the class of 23-24, we had 21 students who indicated they were going to go out of state. We had 12 students who said they were going to go to military, and another 31 students who had indicated they were planning to go to trade schools, in addition to the data. So those would be students out of that 338 not found that would have come from that information. But overall, the students who are found, you can see how did they fare with their GPA across the different GPA spans. Progress towards House Bill 3 goals. So these were first adopted in June of 2020 and have not been adjusted since the initial adopting. This is something that we do need to adjust, and there is going to be some work following the 2025 legislative session. But the initial goals you can see that were set, that were June of 2024, was to get 3rd grade reading at the meets level to 44%, 3rd grade math to 46% for meets, and then CCMR up to 57%. For August of 2024. So in June, this past June, academics presented the Office of Academics 2030 strategic plan. Ms. Matiowski presented this plan. And essentially for reading, math, and CCMR, we have yearly targets. And these were established by looking at where we were currently and then looking at 2030. If we want to be an A district by 2030, where do we need to be? And setting goals that seemed reasonable, knowing that goals are not going to be achieved at a set rate every single year, but putting something out there that at a district seemed obtainable. So this is what we looked at for this year to see, are we on track to get to that A as a district for 2030? So for reading, we're looking at that 45 for meets. For math would be a 40, and CCMR would be a 70. So taking that into consideration, you can see at 3rd grade reading, if the goal is a 45, 3rd grade reading was at a 43, which isn't quite at the goal, but is a considerable jump from a 39 the 2 years prior. Keep in mind, the reading does include the extended constructed response, the short constructed response, all those writing teaks that previously had not been. And then in 3rd grade math, you can see they had a considerable jump at the meets level, going up 9 points at meets. And so they are well above that 40% meets level. And for CCMR, you can see where they have landed. Once again, that's a lagging indicator, but they are at that 70%, improving from 55 from the year before. So that's where we are currently, but moving forward, under the 2025 legislative session, new goals have to be established. And not just at the district level, but at each campus level. We have to establish goals for 3rd grade reading and 3rd grade math at the meets level. Now we know across our 7 elementaries, they're all at very different places. Y'all have heard me say that numerous times. So as an academics team, we need to establish some goals that we plan to bring to the board to figure out, well, what do the goals need to be? And these goals have to be approved annually. And every year, the goals will be for 5 years out. So we are never without goals moving forward. And this is something that under House Bill 120 and House Bill 2 has established to go along with House Bill 3 now. Okay. So really the new goals for House Bill, or for third grade math and third grade reading, these are fairly easy. And then we also have to have goals specifically for the specific groups of Domain 3, which is your all student groups. And then each campus is looked at their 2 lowest race and ethnicities. For most of our campuses, it's either Hispanic and white students at elementary or Hispanic and African American students. And then the high focus group, it's that combination of students who fit into the different student groups of economically disadvantaged, students who receive special ed services, our emergent bilingual students, or highly mobile students. So those are students who in previous years were in separate student groups. Now under the new accountability system, those are students that go into this one group and they don't duplicate across different categories, so they only count once in that. For CCMR, however, instead of it just being one overall CCMR goal, we have to have one goal for each component of CCMR. So we have to have a goal for what is our TSI goal, which includes ACT and SAT and TSI. What is our goal for AP and IB scores? What is our goal for associate's degrees? What is our goal for industry-based certifications? So there is a very big change around the CCMR goal. And that one I feel like is obtainable because we have historical data, so we know where we've been as a district. But the bigger one is that now the state's also requiring goals around annual graduates at 1, 3, and 5 years after graduation, goals around these 5 areas. Enrollment rates in post-secondary education institutes, percentage of graduates who enroll in post-secondary education institutes and do not require remedial coursework, the rate of persistence at this post-secondary educational institute in each of the first 2 years, the rate of completion of a post-secondary degree, certification, or other credentialing program, and wages earned. Per statute from the 2025 legislative session, TEA will be providing this, but yet we have not heard how that's going to happen. So if anything doesn't get brought before the board when academics brings you the goals in August, it will be this component right here around CCMR, because if we don't have the data, there is no way we can set goals. But the other components, academics will plan to bring proposed goals to the board in August annually that we would propose for the board's approval. And then each year at the annual report would be the time for which we would provide you an update on how the district is doing for those progress towards these goals. So that is the biggest change for annual report this year. The taper glossary that is included every year. There are a lot of acronyms that are used. It tells you the different methodologies. It tells you the list sources for each data point. It's available in English and in Spanish. The full report is posted once again. It's all in folders. It's all very detailed, so you can drill into exactly what you want to see. A paper copy is available upon request, and for more information, I am your point of contact, so please let me know what questions you have. Are there any questions?
I think it's a big expectation to do some of the futuristic numbers that they expect for us to be able to look at and approve, especially wages. I mean, how do you determine that? I think TA is setting big expectations for the school districts. That's my personal opinion.
Yes, is there any, so you said TEA is supposed to be giving us this data. Are we okay to say you didn't give us the data, therefore we can't set any goals? There's not going to be any repercussions to us?
Since this just came out, this last legislative session, it went into effect in December. It would be for the upcoming.
Okay.
So we're okay.
So we have a whole.
Yes,
okay.
and that's why we're okay. Yes, no worries. I would not be this cool and calm and collected if we were not. So we will have something in July, and August. Other districts are in the exact same situation, so it's not just San Marcos, and through different conferences that we go to, and I'm a member of Lead Forward Accountability Connect. It's a pretty reoccurring conversation that we have, so we definitely have some different resources to reach out to.
So when you're saying that y'all are going to work on the goals and then y'all present it to the board and then we have to approve them, And what's the deadline for approving them?
We would bring them to you at the August board meeting.
August, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Halsey?
Yes.
If we could go back to the slide in which we talk about the ratings of the school district, I just want to share that although I want us to be realistic, saying that we're setting a goal of 2030 to be an A-rated school district is quite frankly insufficient for me as a board member. I'm now on my 9th, going on 10th year of being up here, and that is true of some members of this administration, and so I would just like to emphasize, like, I'm getting impatient as a board member, and whatever resources we can bring to bear to support y'all's efforts to expedite that timeline, I'm very interested in supporting that effort and that energy, and know that it cannot be a dollar amount or resource amount that prevents us from getting there. So just wanted to kind of share where I am on that slide.
Thank you.
I would also like to make sure that when we are doing the accountability with the CCMR, that the numbers that you talked about students that are attending colleges out of state or have joined the military, the numbers that we have from our internal reference, that we are also incorporating that into this data. I would like us to send it to TA. I'm sure they will disregard it, but I think that that's important, and I think that we should also include that in the data that we present on our website.
I can certainly add that and update what's posted on the website.
So I think that would change our score if that were counted by the state, right?
Well, this isn't factored into a score, the Texas Higher Ed Coordinating Board.
But we get a score and the ratings based on CCMR. Anyway, I just think it's important that we are telling as full a picture as possible.
I agree, because this graphic right here is extremely misleading.
Yeah.
And that's why I provided you guys with the verbal information, but I can certainly reframe this graphic that's presented on the website, so anyone who goes in and sees it themselves will have the information that I shared about the straight to the workforce.
I understand we can't change it in the taper database, but.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda items, the approval of the minutes for the special board meeting on February 12th, 2026, the regular board meeting on February 23rd, 2026, and the special board meeting on March 2nd, 2026, and to consider the approval of budget amendments. Do we have any budget amendments?
Right button. Yes, we do. There's one in the board book for the money for TASB. It was insurance recovery money for hail damage.
Ms. Halsey, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented in our board book.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the consent agenda items? That motion carries 5-0. The action items this evening are discussion and possible action to initiate the appointment process to fill the existing vacant seat for single member District 2. This is something that we discussed extensively at the last meeting, and then we discussed it again at our agenda prep. We have in our board books a proposal that I'm assuming came from Mr. Cruz's office?
Yes, y'all had asked me to reach out. We reached out to a couple districts that are doing this, and so I believe this is actually, some of the paperwork comes from Medina Valley, who went through this very similar process. And they have 5 single member and 2 at large as well.
And so I think that the application process asks us to set up a timeline, asks people to complete a letter demonstrating their interest, and then providing some short answers pertaining to their experience that's relevant and to why they are interested in serving in this capacity. We had talked about determining whether or not the person would serve until November, at which time we'd have an election concurrent with the general election, or else we would hold for the whole year and do our regular school board member elections in May. I'm not sure we have to decide that tonight, but I think we should open the floor to see if I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve the application process as recommended by the administration.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded by Ms. Kane. And then invite any questions or discussion or suggestions to improve this process, if there is any.
All of that was sent by legal counsel, so I think it's going to be a really easy plan to follow.
Then I think if we go ahead and approve this evening, that we should talk about the timeline for people to submit an application. And we are now on the 23rd of March. And we would like to have, I think, this appointment made in May when Ms. Villalpando vacates her seat. So it would seem appropriate to me to open it up for the month of April, but I'm open to other people's feelings on that if there are, or if the month seems enough time. Yes, Mr. Arredondo.
I agree with you, President Halsey. I don't know if it's realistic if we say like a month from today's board meeting, to which time we would essentially have like 30 days to receive applications. I guess the expectation would be that those applications would be collated as they're received. We could receive them at our April board meeting and then discuss at that point in time either interviews, follow-ups, a timeline for that decision, seeing as how theoretically we would need to have somebody appointed by, May 18th? Whatever that regular board meeting is where we would swear in Ms. Villalpando's successor.
Yes.
But I'm open to, I guess just off the top of my head, that's kind of the foggy proposal I have.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think if we're going to approve the materials as presented, we could probably put the posting out on Wednesday, which if it went out on March 25th, and then was open until April 13th, or April 10th, because the 13th is the day that the board book gets put together for us, then we would have the materials in the board book. Those would all be publicly available with the posting of the board book, and we could consider them at the next meeting.
If I recall correctly, we had the deadline of the 18th is not a hard deadline to appoint. We had from the time of the turnover of District 2's seat, there was approximately, I can't remember if it was 90 to 120 days that we had to appoint. So I don't necessarily feel like we have to rush that process if we can make it a month, if we can make it 6 weeks. Just to make sure that we have enough time, but I don't know that I'm comfortable designating the 18th as a hard deadline to make that decision and have somebody sworn in at that time, if we have the time to actually evaluate a little bit further.
I don't think we need to rush it, but I think ideally it would be great to have that new board member come in when Ms. Villalpando exits and also be here with enough time to participate in SLI. I think that updated training would be helpful for whomever it is.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. I just want to make sure that it's not like, unfortunately, the process is what the process is, and it didn't draw a whole lot of interest, and so I'm just wanting to make sure that if it's, I just don't want to rush the position if that's not necessary. I'm fine with that time. I just don't know that I'm ready to say, oh yeah, I want that to be the hard date that it has to happen.
Gotcha.
I want to leave that little bit of breathing room in the event that there is, we can't come to a decision or there's extra questions. I just don't know that I'm ready to say that deadline has to be met. I just don't know that it's.
Depending on what comes in.
Yeah,
I think. You don't want a hard deadline. But I agree with President Halsey that we need to have that person go to SLI, and that's going to be in June. I don't know, do we have a date on that?
I'm getting the queue again.
It's usually the second week in June-ish, so if there's not, between that and graduation and all of that. Mr. Arredondo, you got a comment?
Yeah, thank you, President Halsey. I agree with Trustee Lopez. I guess conversely, my concern is, we had this open since early January, right, for just regular filing, and nobody filed, and that was, several months, right? So I hope that same challenge doesn't occur as we look for a potential appointment. I assume it will not, because I think the lack of an applicant to run and a lack of a district trustee for that single member district has created some conversation in the community. I would add, I guess my suggestion was if we post today or if we approve today and we post it for 30 days, it gives us an opportunity to visit those applications at our next board meeting, but we very well could say at that time, we want to leave it open for another 30 days. However, then I would then be concerned that leaving it open for 30 days, and if there's 2 or 3 applicants and we say, we're going to keep it open, also gives a sign to those 3 applicants, like, we don't want them either, right? So I guess for me, it's, if we set a date, hopefully we get some applicants, and if they're great, they're great. If not, I guess we cross that bridge when we get there. But I agree with the sentiment. It'd be nice to have them seated so that they can participate in all of the end of year transitional things that new board members participate in. But I'm cool with whatever. Even again, if it's coming back in 30 days and saying, let's keep it open, I can do that too. Yeah.
And I think that's all I'm asking for is that flexibility. So I'm perfectly fine with that.
That makes sense to me. Then I think by that token, what if we ask Ms. Gunther to make the posting by this Wednesday, which is March 25th? And the thing that's a little bit messed up is because we are having this meeting late in the month because of spring break.
Yeah.
If we want to keep it open for a full at least 3 weeks before our meeting on the 20th of April, then I'd suggest that we make the deadline on April 15th, the initial deadline. For consideration, April 15th, and then the board just will need to be a little flexible in making time to be able to review those before the meeting on the 20th, and they will not be in the board book, but they could still be posted online with the public materials.
Ms. Halsey?
Yeah.
I guess in that same vein, if we didn't set a hard deadline for application submissions, it could just be like a job posting, right? Like the first review of interested applicants will be X date, and then I'll judge you if you turned it in after that date that it's going to be in the board book, right? So again, I guess we could leave it open.
Yeah, it's our process, so we can do what we want to, right? I would like at least a little time before the meeting to evaluate, to be able to review the applications, and
I guess my thought process there is, if the first posted deadline is, if you want to be reviewed by the April board meeting, you need to have it submitted to the district by X date, because that's going to be the first batch of applicants that we review if there are any. So
that makes sense. And I think our administration and communications team did a good job in getting this into the newspaper so that it has been publicized, and if we can get it into the newspaper again, that the application is open, and put it up on social media, then hopefully we get some people who are interested and willing to take on the challenge. All right. Then is there, we have a motion and a second. Any other conversation, consideration, discussion?
Just to approve the application, right? Yeah.
To approve the application as presented and go ahead and post it from March 25th through April 15th, with the idea that we will review and take an initial review at the April meeting on the 20th.
So the application as presented has TBD, serve until date, and a place on the particular ballot. Can we leave those as TBD, or do we need to vote on that piece tonight as well?
I think we can leave it TBD.
We could change it to future. Will serve until.
I think we should discuss it. I mean, I think we should make a decision before the person is appointed. I think that's not fair to the person to not know what they're getting into. But I think we can make that determination in April.
Can we make that change in this then that says they will serve until?
I mean, I'm happy to go ahead and do it tonight too.
I'm fine making that decision tonight. I think we've known about it.
I mean, I said this before, and I still feel pretty strongly. I think that it's fair to put them in for a year and let them serve the full year and be up for the regular election cycle. It would seem odd to me to make an exception of one person who is coming in this kind of capacity to put them into the November election when everybody else is in May. But
I agree. I'm fine with a year.
I agree. I understand.
I'm cool.
The-
I've changed my mind.
Okay,
That's cool.
you
don't
changed
have
your
to-
mind.
You don't have to
Fine.
address me. So we can all agree on May 2027. Is there interest from my colleagues to include a question asking if they're interested in running for the full term when they apply? Because I guess I would be interested if someone is like, I just want the year versus I plan on running for reelection when that appointment is up, right?
I think it's a good question.
It's a good question to ask, but I think it also takes, I think the expectation when wanting to serve and then actually getting behind this bench and doing it is two very different things. And I think giving them that time to decide if this is really something for them.
Could it be one of the open-ended questions at the end, like 15, 16, 17? Like if appointed,
Would you
do you
consider-
have plans on running for the full term? If not, that's okay. Like, I guess I'm curious to understand where their thought process is. Because if we do interviews, I'm going to ask them that question anyway, so they're going to be put on the spot regardless. But anyway, just curious if my colleagues.
I'm fine with it being an open-ended question at the end, but it's,
You get a year and then you can decide.
I'm also fine with just asking them that question
in person
when the time comes. They'll have seen it on the application. We've said it out loud.
Mr. McLaughlin, we have a motion on the table to approve the application materials for the appointed position as presented by the district, except now we are discussing, and we have agreed up here that we are going to appoint the position for a year, so the person would be up for election next May. And we are trying to hopefully have this process come to a conclusion in May so that they can attend SLI in June and serve that full year. So we're talking about having the application process go from March 25th, which is this Wednesday, until April 15th, which is 3 weeks from Wednesday, and we would consider the submissions at that point in the April meeting. There's now been a question made about whether we can add a question to the application process, asking for the applicant to demonstrate whether or not they're interested in the longer term position.
Thank you. I did listen on the stream on the way in, so I'm pretty caught up. Even heard the taper and all the stuff. So I'm ready to go and vote on this motion when you call for it.
So it seems to me then that maybe we would just leave that question for the interview process, unless
Okay, that's cool.
please feel strongly. Okay. Any other questions, suggestions? If not, all in favor of the motion as on the table, raise your hand. Opposed? Abstaining? Ms. Viapondo, are you abstaining? You did. Oh, I'm sorry. That motion carries 7-0. Thank you. The next item is the consideration of possible action to accept the changes to the Slack challenge form.
Ms. Halsey, I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed changes to the library materials challenge form.
I'll second that.
Motion made and motion seconded. Are there any questions for Ms. Majitowski?
It's my understanding that this is just based on feedback from the parent committee that we appointed. I don't need like the full presentation.
Correct. They just wanted a little bit more information in addition to this kind of screen grabs that were attached.
Okay, thank you.
And this information is also all publicly available on the website?
Yes.
Will be? Yes. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Opposed? That motion also carries 7-0. The next item is item for operations. Consider approval of City of San Marcos Detention Water Quality Inspection Access Easement at Owen Goodnight Middle School.
Ms. Halsey, I'll make a motion that we approve the City of San Marcos Detention Water Quality Inspection Access Easement at Owen Goodnight Middle School.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Arredondo and Ms. Kane, any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? None. That motion is 7-0. Next item is for procurement. Consideration and possible action regarding the approval of awarded contracts for safety and security services.
Ms. Halsey, I'll make a motion that we approve the awarded contract for safety and security services as presented in our board book.
I will second that motion. Motion made and seconded. Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Give me 1 second to catch up. This is the same vendor as since 2022, is that correct?
No, sir. This is the vendor that we are putting forth is a different vendor than what we've worked with.
Okay. I just see the single page. Was the contract included in, has someone else seen that? Or we're just approving this based on the paragraph summary?
So we have not put forward a contract with this vendor. This is just approval if we can, if you will allow the superintendent to allow us to execute a contract with this vendor.
Okay. And what did we spend on this contract with the prior vendor in the last fiscal year?
Okay. We don't have that value in front of us.
I guess, I mean, I'm okay like with some sort of cap. I just don't want some open-ended assignment. So if we can approve it at or below what we paid in the year prior, I'd be comfortable. But without knowing more, I can't just, go off of this.
What we did put in our bid package for them to submit were daily rates. And so we looked at the daily rates that we have in place.
Okay.
And they were, the last contract we had was in 2022. So we felt it was time to kind of take a look and see if there were any adjustments that needed to be made. And I believe there were several vendors that submitted that Mr. Cleveland had a committee review and look at. So, we didn't put a cap on we can pay up to X amount. It's more of just we have this, the security service mainly for our athletic events, our extracurricular events, board meetings, things of those natures that we normally don't have our school marshals or SROs during the school day.
And does this, revenue-wise, does this come out of like gate receipts, or does it come out of our budget?
This will come out of funds mainly from our school safety allotment.
And how many people bid? Or companies?
The number of
12? Oh, actually a lot. And where's this Syntex Safety Solutions located primarily?
Syntex Safety Solutions is based out of San Marcos, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
and,
sir.
And the district, has the district done business with them before?
No, sir, we have not previously done business with them, but based on the parameters we set, they were the safety solution that met the needs of our district as far as ensuring security for our events and our campuses as needed.
Okay, thanks for the answers.
Yes, sir.
I'm fine with it as proposed.
Any
Rather
questions?
than the amendment.
Well, now that Mr. McLaughlin asked a couple of questions, I just want to clarify, based on my understanding of and why I was supportive of this motion, this is like everything but the school marshals and SROs on our campuses, right? So when I go to like a football game or an extracurricular event, or really like anything that is not K-12 school day, when we
Yes,
have
sir.
security professionals,
So
this is that service.
This is any event that falls outside of the agreed on hours of our school resource officer contract, in which we have a commissioned law enforcement officer present. But also includes if we do have a school marshal absence, which we do anticipate every year that we have a person who is licensed and meets that House Bill 3 requirement.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion on the table, please raise your hand. Opposed? That motion carries 7-0. The next item is for the consideration of possible action regarding the approval of awarded contracts for the kitchen repair services.
Ms. Halsey, I'll make a motion that we approve an awarded contract for kitchen contracted services.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Redondo and Ms. Lopez. Are there any questions?
I do. I have one question, sorry. Yeah, we're just up there. Do we have some sort of conflict form that these bidders fill out when they bid for the district that says if they have prior relationships with like any of us or any administrative personnel?
Yes, sir, that is part of our standard vendor agreement, master services agreement.
Okay. And if there was something notable in that, would it be provided in the packet? I didn't see anything, so does that mean it was none or some answer like that?
Yes, it would be something that, it's part of the, one of our attachments to that, and it would be noted, and we would definitely flag that and take a look if that was the case.
Okay, and these two vendors, AMI Services and 512 Refrigeration, those are separate vendors?
Yes, sir.
And where are they primarily doing business?
AMI is a local vendor, and 512 is from Cedar Park.
Have we ever done business with the AMI before?
Yes, we have. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay, thanks.
Ms. Keene?
I was just wondering, we had one for security, we have two for kitchen. Is it just different equipment that they can handle the repairs on? Or just in case we have emergencies, we have two on hold?
Yes, ma'am, exactly. So when we have a walk-in freezer that's down, we want to be sure we have a couple of vendors that's available in the event that they're not able to come out to keep our program and serving students. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Halsey.
Mr. Arredondo?
Thank you, President Halsey. And just to understand where these dollars are coming from, this is coming out of the food service budget, correct? These are not general fund?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, that is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. The next item is consider the approval authorizing the tax resale property held in trust suit number 20-2544, Lot C, Block 1, BW Breeding Edition, City of San Marcos, Hays County, Texas, according to the plat of said edition in record in Volume O, page 202, Deed Records of Hays County, Texas, save and accept those portions of Lot C described in Volume 88, page 566, Deed Records of Hays County, Texas, and Volume 1199, page 423, Official Public Records of Hays County, Texas, currently CAD number 11-078-0100-00103-3 in parens R21956. Dr. Cardona, can you give us a synopsis, please?
Before we go into closed session?
No,
I'm off going the wrong.
sorry, the finance, the resale of the property, the tax.
Oh, this is the so I was like reading some. I apologize, I blanked out. So this is a lot that is trying to get back on the roll. I think somebody is offering, Denise will correct me if I'm wrong, $5,000. There was a tax lien for approximately $15,000 on this property. And if it's sold for the $5,000, we would expect to get something back.
Yeah, from the $5,000, we will probably get about $2,000 from that. And then it goes back on the roll. The property right now is worth about $33,000. It's just a lot. So if it gets back on the roll, we'll get probably about $250 from taxes from that property.
So it's a foreclosed property that's been foreclosed some time ago.
Yes. And so they did have it like on a sheriff's tax sale, but it didn't get sold then. And so now they do have a bidder, and it's at the $5,000. So they're asking, well, because we're one of the entities, we have to approve that sale. So we don't have to sell it. I mean, we don't have to approve that. It'll just stay in the trust, and then they can wait for another bidder to provide another offer.
Any questions? Ms. Viapondo, can you put your mic on?
You said $250? We get $250?
$250 a year for taxes when it gets put back on the roll.
Every year?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless they make improvements.
Right, unless they make improvements or put a house or whatever they do on that property. But if they don't do anything to it, that's what the value of the property is.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed?
Did we make a motion?
Oh, did we not? Sorry, I just introduced the item. I didn't actually make a motion. I'm sorry. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion made by Mr. Arredondo,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Kane. Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion goes forward 6-1. The next, Mr. McLaughlin voting in opposition. The next item is to move into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.129, 551.074, and 551.076 to include a consultation with legal counsel regarding JDR minor by and through his parents and next friends David Rowley and Rachel Rowley, and JMR minor by and through his parents and next friends David Rowley and Rachel Rowley versus San Marcos CISD, CA number 1-1-25-CB-01545-RP in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas, Austin Division. Is there a motion to move into closed session?
So moved.
Made. Second. We'll also be potentially deliberating regarding safety and security, including safety personnel systems, intruder audit reports, infrastructure, and/or devices is the second item for closed session. All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Thanks very much, everyone. All right, we are reconvening in open session. It is 7:41. We are reconvening to take action on discussion action regarding the settlement demand in the matter of David Rowley and Rachel Rowley and J.M.R. Minor by and through his parents and next friends, David Rowley and Rachel Rowley versus San Marcos CISD, CA number 125, CV-015445-RP in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas, Austin Division. And I am going to move to reject the settlement demand presented to the board in closed session in the matter of David Rowley and Rachel Rowley and J.M.R. Minor by and through his parents and next friends, David Rowley and Rachel Rowley versus San Marcos CISD, CA number 125-CV-01545-RP in the U.S. District Court for the Western Division of Texas, Austin Division. Is there a second? Second? Ms. Kane? Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Thanks very much, everybody.